On August 1st, 2007, the 35W bridge in Minneapolis collapsed into the Mississippi River, killing 13 people and injuring 145 others. For many years, bridge inspectors had noted corrosion, frozen bearings, cracked welds, and missing components on this bridge. In 2005, the legislature finally passed the bill that would have provided long-term funding for roads and bridges as well as transit systems.
Mr. Speaker, Senator Dake, come on up. Okay, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Well, again, good afternoon. Thank you. We're here to discuss the transportation funding and policy bill recently passed by the legislature and forwarded to my desk for consideration. We are a state that is 15 years behind in our transportation infrastructure. I could stand here and tell you lots of stories because I was there for many of the years, and the Speaker could tell you more, and Senator Day and others could tell you even more as to how we got to this point. It would be a story of pointing fingers and assigning responsibility for those years. I won't do that. I will tell you that we now have the problem and we need to look forward as to how to fix it. Now, as we look forward, we have 1 million more people scheduled to come to the state of Minnesota, more specifically the metropolitan region, in the next 20 to 25 years. That's on top of an infrastructure that is 15 years behind. By the way, depending on what interest group or observer you talk to, the backlog is defined as somewhere between $700 million to $1 billion a year, but even if you assume those figures are somewhat exaggerated, it's a lot of money. So we do need to find a big fix. A gas tax at a nickel produces $150 million or so a year in revenue. We have a $700 million or so a year backlog. $150 million, Lieutenant Governor Molnar, will get you maybe a medium-sized bridge or medium-sized project in the metropolitan area. One, it's helpful, it's good, but to say that that is the panacea for all that we face as a challenge is simply an incomplete assessment of the situation. The transportation advocates, the gurus, the lobbyists have all said, hang in there until you get all of what you want. And you know what they've received? Nothing. As to the bill of itself, I'm going to veto it for a number of reasons. As I said, first of all, it contains a 10-cent a gallon gas tax increase in a time when gas prices look like this. It's unwise. It's particularly unwise in these times. And we don't govern by polls, but as a recent Minnesota poll showed from the Star Tribune, a majority of Minnesotans don't support it. With that, I'm going to ask Lieutenant Governor to make a few comments, and if legislative leaders and authors and Chair Holberg wants to make some comments, I'll be happy to do it. Lieutenant Governor Molnar.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor. We are glad that we do have a half a loaf here. But those needs still are out there, and they're statewide. This bill does not reflect a statewide movement. This does sway quite heavily to the metro. So, Governor, do what you need to do. I think we have part of what we need, but we certainly have the rest of session to get the rest, or whatever it takes.
And for that purpose, I'm going to say something you don't hear very often. Governor, hurry up and veto my bill.
Well, with that, I will.
The bill was vetoed by Governor Tim Pawlenty, enacted he would repeat in 2007 and again in 2008. Let's not forget the victims of the bridge collapse and the other lives that have been lost due to our failing transportation infrastructure. Let's make sure the state makes the investments needed to prevent this loss of life in the future.